All right, that took me 6 seconds. Okay, they have a sufficient response. So we're doing 410, which means they're going to take 3 from 410 and then 1 from 3 and 110, and that's it. Okay? So 410 definitely has 3. And then they do have, in 110, they're both hurricane, so we're going to take 1. And then the other one was 310. Oh, I'm sorry. I grabbed the wrong one. It's not 111. It's 110 and 310. So those are 2 more hurricanes. I had to grab from over here. So nobody from over there responded. This is sort of like its own little mini raid all by itself. But anyways, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So let's. All right. So let's roll a die. I rolled a 6. It is none of those. It's not deep. I'm checking. Nope, not deep. It's not very early. It's not even an accurate intelligence. We do have 9 to 11, so we get to add 2. So we're at 8. And then there's 1 additional card. I'm just checking against that special card on whether we're supposed to count this. So there's 2 additional cards. So that puts us back to a 6. A 6 is a low, and I said there was 5, so 2 of them are coming back out. They're going to get slaughtered if they go into this raid. So 2 of the 410s come back out, which is funny. And if this was an airfield raid, that would have been awesome, but it's not. It's a port. Okay, so now we go and check this. So they have limited intelligence, and so we have 11 or more groups in our raid. So we're down here, and they have, we just took 2 out, so they should have 3. So a 3 with 11 or more is a no. So they're not even coming into this raid. Everybody's just staying put. And they're letting us drop our bombs, which is funny. I sent so many escorts on this one, but that's fine. So that means we get to have a field day, but let's draw our 2 events. This one, broken clouds become patchy or patchy clouds become clear. Adjust weather marker. It sounds like that this is permanent. Oh, wow. So it's not just for now. So let me make sure. It's not just for this raid. So what's it called? Area weather improves. So let me check. Broken clouds become, adjust the weather marker. If the area is clear, no event occurs. Yeah, so it's permanent. But one thing I want to point out, though, is it's just for Luftwaffe 2. So it has to say. So this is going to be Luftwaffe 2, but that's still very helpful because we still have some Luftwaffe 2 stuff coming. So that means this patchy clouds becomes clear. And it's funny because we're actually bombing Luftwaffe 3, but that's okay. And then we're going to do the bombing event, which is clouds inhibit squadrons. If the region has patchy or broken, it does. All C squadrons in the bomber box leave the raid. Oh, come on. And yes, we have a C squadron. And so they're going to leave the raid. But everything else makes it through. And then these guys are going to be... they just return home. They don't go in the time slot, but they're going to return home, and I'm just going to flip them over to show that they're not eligible anymore. And okay, so we have 3-6 on the bombing run. Let's roll. That's on the board. 6. So that's a wonderful roll, by the way. All right, so we have 6 here, and no bombers were intercepted, so we get to move 2 to the right, okay? It is broken clouds, which is 2 to the left, but because we're a dive bomber, we get to go 2 to the right. So it doesn't matter. An H becomes an H. So the one time the 2 to the right would have helped us, it didn't. But that's all right. That's heavy damage to a port, and that's 3 points for us. So I'll take that. So 3 points for us puts us up to -11. And our JU-87s make it back, no worries. All right, so first target done. We got 3 points. That's as good as I could ever ask. So now let's go to the next target. So here we have 3 bombers coming in. And 3 close escorts. 1 channel patrol and 4 hunters. That's not bad at all. This one's going after the secondary target. That's all this means. I don't think we need to keep this around. Just saying secondary target. So we're going after radar net 4 instead of the airfield, which I'm okay with. Although 211 actually has damaged planes, so we could have really done some damage, but the radar field's good because that radar field impacts that particular raid. None of the other ones, and the next raid that happens at the next hour. So taking out this radar field and just doing light damage is all we need. We can really reduce their response time to these next 2 raids. All right, so let's see what their response is. Oh, it's a 3, and they have 2 air radar nets, so 4, 5, 6, 7. And the OCV for, this is Luftwaffe 2, it's a clear, the OCV is 4. So that puts them to 11. And then they're gonna get an early response to this crap because we have 11 in the raid. That's gonna give them a +4. So they're gonna get a nice response to this one. Let's do our rendezvous check. I rolled a 4. I think that one's a bad one. Yeah, 11 or more in the raid. Crap. And a 5 is the B groups. Leave the raid. So we lost 2 bombers. Hold on a second. I'm gonna go grab a C. There was no reason I should have had 2 B groups there. So the B group leaves the raid. And from a close escort leaves the raid. And then one of our fighters leaves. So, okay. The rendezvous thing hurts so bad. It's not even funny. All right, so let's now, they're gonna have a huge response to this. So just to give you a sneak peek, I mean, the 211 sending in 3. 211 has 2. I mean, the one thing that helps is we did damage, so a lot of their planes are damaged. The 111 and 711 are each sending in 2. 711 has 1. 111 does have 2. Then 311 and 611 are sending in 2. 611 has 1. 311 has none. 511 and 410 are sending in 1. 511 has 1. 410 has 3. So they will send in a Spitfire. So that's quite a response. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now let's go to this. We'll roll our die first. I rolled a 2. The target is a radar net, so that's 4. And then +1 because it's 11 group for 5. 6, 7. Minus 1 is 6. So they're at a 6. Okay, so how many did I say they had? 8. The 6 is a low response. With 8, that means 4 of them are coming out. That actually helps us. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let me make sure. Yep, they do have 4 left. So 111, another 111, and a 511. There's a part of me wanted the 111s to stay because that's actually our next target. Oh, yeah. The 111 is our next target, which is interesting, but both of the 111s made it back out. It's a very competent AI, I have to confess. It's really interesting how he came up with those tables and they work out so well. He must have done a lot of playtesting of this game. That's the only thing I mean, you got to give him credit. I mean, those tables are wonky. And I guess maybe if you're a mathematical genius, you could sit down and math it out. But I still don't even think I think he definitely playtested this a lot. And anyways, this is fun. I'm enjoying this a lot more than Lion. And I think it's just because the benefit of years of experience and a second crack at the game. This is good. I think I still like Skies Above the Reich a bit more. But Skies has some like formula to it that once you figure it out, it does make the game winnable every time. But I still love the concept. It's just such a wonderful game. And I definitely am on the P500 list for the Storm Above the Reich, even though I'm very concerned that he did nothing new in that. I still support it because I just love that game so much. And then all the DVG games, of course, are very good as well. All right, so let's keep going here. And of course, that rambling made me lose my spot. Where are we at? Oh, we're deciding if they're going to join, so it's limited. They have 4, and the number of groups in the raid, of course, is reduced now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're on this column. They have 4. It's an all-out response. So they're in, like Flynn. All right, so let's get them on the board, and let's get you moved over. Oh, sorry, itchy face, itchy eye. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a squadron war. Okay. 4-on-3 is pretty good for them, although not fantastic. And then, of course, the events, you know, sometimes those events do help us with the altitude advantage, but I would say 70% of the time they're not helping us. I mean, it's when you play Lion, the events are a lot kinder to you than when you're playing Eagle. That's for certain. So let's draw. Yeah, and there it is, British altitude advantage. But none of these are true, so we're going to get lucky there. And now they happen to have 1 more than us. Even if I roll, it's going to equal their excess, so he's staying in the box. So it's 3 versus 4, 8, 12, 15. So 3 versus 15, and that's going to be probably right in the middle. So here's 3, and then we go down to 15. Oh, that puts him right into F. Dang it. Okay, so he's at F. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be losses on both sides, potentially. I rolled a 2. Let's hope that, you know, because I lost all the B groups, let's hope that that hurts B. Oh my gosh, it does. Oh, that's so sweet. So the A's make it through to the escort. B's are light losses. And then C's are abort. Abort, abort, abort. Okay, C aborts, which there's no time left on the clock, so I'm just going to move that over to the side. The A's are actually making it through to close escort. And the B's would have been light damage, but because of the rendezvous, they were sent home. And so that actually was Providence. And so there I am complaining and moaning, and you know, it's like that old story about the Indian who fell off the horse and broke his leg. And then he wasn't able to go with his tribe to war against another Indian tribe. Well, everybody that went to war got wiped out and nobody returned. But that man with the broken leg was able to pack up his camp and save all the rest of his tribe, the women and children. And so that was one of those situations where him breaking his leg and being so upset, it was actually the best thing ever. That was what just happened here. So I know whenever I read that story, it was probably much more interesting than the way I just said it. But okay, so F2, DDL. So the D's are coming in. So B is a D and a D, so two of them are coming in, but these are both light losses, and I will take it. 211 and 611. That's 2 more points for the good guys. All right, or bad guys in this case. Okay, so now, obviously these two are going to intercept both of the bombers. And when they intercept the bombers, we get to bring escorts with them, which are going to be these two. And since we have excess, the rest are going to come as well. They actually get to strafe. Or no, they're just going to come. I keep forgetting. So they're coming, but they're coming as a close escort. So they're not going to get to strafe. So I keep them in a close escort box, is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's draw our event. Clouds inhibit squadrons. If the region has patchy or broken clouds, this is region Wafa 2. It is clear. All the A's would have left the raid. There weren't any A's anyways. All right, so what we have here is 6, 12, 14, 15, 17, 19, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 19 to 6. So the 6, when you go down to 19, that only gets you to D. Okay, so they're going to be doing that. Let's roll. I rolled a 3. So for them, they are only B. All B's take light losses, so that's wonderful for us. We just gave them 2 light losses. Now, if they're already reduced, yeah, they still just take a light loss, but that's 2 more points for us. So we're up to minus 15, and this is 211 and 410. Look at how many we took out. Holy cow. All right, so, but now we gotta do what's bad for us. So we rolled a 3, so it's a DDA for us, DDA. So A is disrupted. Just checking to see what happens. So these guys are just going home. And they're all A's. That's funny. This one stays in the box, but he's reduced. And then this is an abort, so he leaves. So they did get us. Our bombers were not able, are gonna not be able to do much here. And we were really hoping to take out some radar. So there you can see we only have 3 points to bomb them with. That's ridiculous. I need a 6 or it's not gonna happen. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's go look up 3 points of damage. I actually just needed a 4. I didn't realize that, but we did 2. It's clear skies, so there's no shifting. The bombers were intercepted. There's no dive bombers. So we did 2 damage, which is still just light damage to the radar. But the thing with 2 points versus 1, though, is we get to score 2 victory points. And it's light damage to the radar, so the radar really is out, which was our goal, right? That was our goal. So for radar 4, Beachy Head, the radar is out. It'll be repaired next round. And we are done with that one. Okay, I think it got a little scarier than I was hoping, but we actually still accomplished our goal, and we actually scored 2 points out of the deal, so I can't whine anymore. All right, this last one here, we still have one more left at 1600. This one is all ME 110s only. And per the rules, even though when we played Lion, ME 110s could be in the hunt box, we're not allowed to make them hunt. So they're all close escort, which means they're going to just drop down or get intercepted. Just a reminder, we do not do a rendezvous check. We're not even going to roll. And we get to subtract 2 from their detection. Okay? Everything else was already being accounted for as we went. So let's do their detection right now. Assuming I roll low here, we're going to be in great shape. Oh, I rolled a 1. See, now that's working out wonderfully. Okay, it relies on radar net 4, which we just damaged. So now they only have 2 radar nets, so it's only a +4, which puts them to a 5. Okay. The OCV is a clear sky, so that does put them to a 6. And then the mount in the group is 3. And you can see a 3 is a +1, which puts them to a 7. But per the strategy card, we have to subtract 2, so that gets back down to a 5. Their warning level is none. You see that? No warning, poor intelligence. That's the advantage and the beauty of only sending 3 planes, I guess, right? So for a none, the pool is 1 plane. See that? 111 gets to launch 1 plane. And they do have one. So the pool, the fighter pool, is this 1 plane. So I'll just put him here for now because we don't know if he's going to get involved. And when the intelligence is poor, well, first of all, let's roll here. That was on the board. 4. Okay, it's a 4. And then we got to do all this stuff. So it is the 11 group, so it becomes a 5. We're going after a port. None of these count. Intelligence is poor, and the raid is major. That is true. So that would make it a 7. A 7. And a 7 here is a low, and there's only 1 guy, so nobody leaves, okay? So there's still 1 guy in the pool. But here's the weird thing, is when they have poor intelligence, there's a chart in the rule book that's not on here that you have to count how many groups are in the raid. And see, we only have 3 in the raid, so they're assuming it's a minor. They're going to assume that it's a minor raid, not a major. So I'm actually going to take 2 off of that last one. So that 7 becomes a 5, and that means he goes home. You see how that changed? Because it's a chart in the rule book that, because when they have poor intelligence, they don't even know how many are coming. Because if you remember playing Lion, when you have poor, you have to commit your planes before even knowing the quantity. So so when it's a 1 to 3 groups that are in the actual raid, the British assume it's a minor raid. And so here, I made it a major, and that was by mistake. So we said it was a 7, which was low, but you got to take away those 2 points and make it a 5, which means actually he goes home. All right, and if you would have played it out, because it's a poor raid, and they're assuming it's minor, they had 1 squadron in the pool. Let's look up when they do this, because, this is, no, I think I did it right. And here, like, if they're assuming it's a minor raid, if there's only 1 squadron in a pool, he would have engaged. But that's after doing this check up here. So I think I did it right. It does get complicated. The poor intelligence is a bit more wonky, but they did the right thing. They're not responding. So let's land that back down. And yeah, this is a raid against the port, and we're just going to be strafing. So I'm going to draw my 2 event cards. This is the approach. LF3, area weather changes. Clear becomes patchy, patchy becomes broken, or broken becomes clear. What's interesting is it was broken, so now it becomes clear. and the weather marker has been adjusted. That's actually going to help with the raid because now we don't have to shift. And then here, reduce a number of bomber grouping equal to the number of full squadrons in a bomber box. Well, that's not happening. There's not even any bombers. So here we got, we're just strafing. 246, they're strafing against the port. So there's no penalty. And let's roll. Oh, that just clobbered all my reinforcements. A 6 is a wonderful roll. And just need the bomber chart now. So a 6, they were, there's no bombers, so we don't get to do this shift. And then of course there's no clouds, so a 6 is a heavy. And a heavy against the port really doesn't do anything, but the 3 points is nice. So we go to -20. We're well on our way, folks. We're definitely romp stomping them. And they come home victorious. Okay, time is going to advance once. There's not a single squadron anywhere that can do anything because they didn't really intervene. And now we do this last guy here, which is 4 DO-17s. Now those planes that were involved in previous battles, because there wasn't enough time on the time clock, they came over here flipped over, so they're not eligible. So here you can see I'm going to add 2 escorts. So that makes it a 6. And since there's 4 of them, I needed 2 channel patrol. I'm going to make it a B and a C. So 2 of them are in the channel patrol box, so that's 8. And then 9, 10, 11. So it's shaping up to look like this. And I could reduce one of these to add another ME-109. I'm wondering if I should. You know what, I will. I'm going to take him off and I'm going to put an ME-109 on and make it like that. All right, so let's roll for their response. And this one also has radar net 4 damaged. So that's a 3. 3 radar nets, 1 of them's damaged, so only 2 count. So that's +4, that makes it 7. And then the OCV for a clear is 3 for 10. And then the grouping is 10 to 13, so it's up to 14. So it's sufficient and accurate. So I'm okay as long as it's not early. All right, so sufficient and accurate. Sufficient, as you can see, is 4 from 111 and then 2 from these 2 spots. So we got an empty cup. 111 has only 2, so they're going in. And then 211 and 410 are each adding 2. So we look over here, and 211 has nobody, and 410 does have 2, and they're both Spitfires, so those are actually really good. So they have 4 in the pool. Not really threatened by them having 4 in the pool at the moment, but let's play this out. We do the rendezvous. I rolled a 1. This one only triggers if there's 3 raids in the same, 2 or 3 raids in the same time spot. This is the only raid in this time spot, so no worries there. So no rendezvous issue. Now we gotta do their check. Let's roll for them. 5. +1 is 6. We're going after an airfield, so 7, 8. It is accurate. 9, 10. 11, 12. 12. And a 12 is a high. They have 4. One of them's going back home. Wonder why they do that. Well, I guess they don't know if this is the last raid. So yeah, one of those nasty Spitfires is going back. So that's good. And so now we're on an accurate. So we use A first. Number of groups in the hunt box. There's 4, and they only have 3, and the answer is yes. They're going in. They're going in like Flynn. So they have less than we do. So all that happens here is they're getting intercepted. So that part's easy. Now let's just hope the event doesn't slam us. So here we go. Squadrons patrol elsewhere. Move full A squadrons in eligible sectors to in-flight box. Ooh. Move full A squadrons in eligible sectors to in-flight box. That's not these ones. That's out here. So the eligible sectors is just this one. Because it was a sufficient warning. Nothing happens. That's just, what it would do is it would cause any A's that are out here to go to the in-flight box, which means they're not able to respond anymore. So it is really nice if they exist, because then you can take them off the board. Like, for example, this one here in 7-11 is an A. He would actually go to the in-flight box, which means he would have to land and rearm, you know, before he comes back. The problem is the 7-11 is not eligible because it's a sufficient warning, not an early warning. If it was an early warning, he'd probably be in the cup. But anyways, that's what that one's doing. And so here we go. We have four fighters against 4, 7, 10. And I think that's excellent odds in our favor. So 4 and then a 10 only takes you to row C. That's really good for us, unless we roll a, I'm sorry, let me zoom you out here. 4 and a 10 gets you to row C. And unless we roll really high numbers, we're not even going to take losses. But they take losses no matter what we roll. Just depends on whether it's A, B, or C. So let's just hope it's a low number. It's a 4. That wasn't perfect. But let's see what happens. So row C, 4. And for us, it's a blank, blank L. So A's and B's are going to the close escort box. And then the 2 C's do take a light loss, so that hurts us. So we lose 2 points, and then more importantly, we're going to have to repair 2 more. That's probably where it hurts us even more. The 2-point loss I'm not as big a deal or concerned about. And for them, it's an abort loss, which this part's good, because what that means is nobody's intercepting our bombers. And then the C is the late loss, so let's hope we can get some late losses on them. And sure enough, they got one. So we do get one of those points back. And that's very nice for us. So we're back up to minus 19. And then these are both abort, which it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go ahead and land them back at their airport because this is the last raid of the day. So they're going to be fine. Now, we have nobody here. So all 3 of these get to join the raid. And it's against an airfield, so they get to strafe. The ME-109s get to add their damage, and then the 110, of course, does as well. And the strafing penalties are only against radar, city, headquarters, or bases. That's not what these are. Although I would like to know what a military base is. There must be one somewhere, because those airfields aren't labeled as bases. So like when you look here, there's no military base on the key. Although you do have RAF headquarters. Is that considered a base? So that's the part that's weird about it. But anyways, let's keep going. Event. Reduce the number of bomber grouping equal to the number of full squadrons in a bomber box. Well, there's none, so we're good there. And then the good news here is we get to shift 2 to the right because there's nobody intercepting us, and it's clear skies, so we're not shifting any to the left. So let's look at this here. We're actually going to do massive damage. 4, 8, 12, 16, 18, 19, 20. That by itself is already fantastic, and then we get to shift 2 to the right, and it's against an airfield. So you look over here at 20. You're already looking at this, and then we get to shift 2 to the right. We get the best results in the game. So as long as I don't roll a 1 or a 2, I rolled a 5, we just got a heavy result. So the heavy result means we score 3 points, okay? 1, 2, 3. But against an airfield, when you get a heavy result, you roll again. And I rolled a 6, so that means I did 6 damage to the airfield. And what that means is the airfield actually gets a light damage marker on it, which would be awesome, except it's going to repair before the next round. But to play it out, you would put that on the airfield, and that means that this guy here is the radio control tower is damaged, and he would not respond to any raids outside of his sector, okay? We had that happen earlier in the game already, so you should be familiar with that. But what it also means is that I get to damage up to 6 planes that are there. And so here you can see there's a plane that's there. Hold on a second. This plane is not there yet. This plane was one of the ones that aborted. Remember when we had to... I was cheating. I was landing them here when they really need to go on the chart and all that stuff. So I was trying to skip ahead, but I can't damage this plane because it's actually involved in the battle and still returning back to the airport when I'm bombing the airport. So it's not a part of that thing. However, over here there are 2 in the hangar, and those 2 get impacted. So what happens is that it's a Hurricane and a Spitfire. So the Spitfire and the Hurricane both go down by 1 because I did the damage to them. And then later, you know, throughout the night and rest and recovery, this would have landed. So my apologies there. I was trying to just, you know, be more efficient and didn't realize I was going to, you know, interfere with the bombing of the airport. Let me make sure, because I know I've been going off of memory here. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting something. Yeah, I did it right. I did it right. And then what it was done is, let's say that plane was sitting there ready for takeoff. It would have been dispersed, which means it had to go into the land bucket up there. But that wasn't the actual case. So so we did amazing on this one. At the end of the day, we came through and just hit them hard without even any interference. Okay, so we're at the end of the day. And I'm going to go ahead. The squadrons recover. So that's where you just flip everybody back over, get them to full strength. All of our surviving fighters and everything land, and the bombers are full strength. And then over here, there's some that are getting flipped over because these are actually 109s, and somewhere in here should be 110s. Where did their 110s go? Oh, you know what? I probably threw them over here by mistake. Yep, there they are, 3 of them. They go over here, okay? So, done and done, there. Now, the British, the same thing would happen to them, but they actually don't have any in the in-flight box or up there. So, from here on out, I gotta get the rulebook out, because, or actually we can just look over here. So what we did, we're in the calendar update phase. We did squadron and group reset. So now I got to do the day advance. So I'm going to draw a day advance card, and it says 3 days have elapsed. So we come down here, and 1, 2, 3, we're on August 17th. Now they do score 3 points for that. So 1, 2, 3, we're up to -19. Okay? So next thing in the day advance is we have to do the event. So let me zoom out. We have to do the event first, and then we're going to do what it says up here, and then do that as well. Okay? So the event is our target priorities are changing again. Our victory points are -19, so we get to do this row here. Okay? And it does change quite a bit based on our points, so let's look over here. I'm going to take everything off, and first one is RA is medium. So I'm assuming that's radar. So those go medium. PT is low. That's ports. So the ports are low. AF is high. That's the airfields. I like going after airfields. IN is low. That's industry. And then CL is medium, and that, or CI, that would be the cities. So we're starting to maybe go after some cities. Okay, so that's that part. Now, the repair 5 here is if they had any heavy damage, they would have to roll. They're not. And this doesn't happen until the beginning of the next day, but all light damage repairs. And there's no need to wait on that. Next thing that happens, and I know I have you at a convoluted angle here, but we do this. So Hurricane gets 7 repair points. So he goes up to 14, which is a lot. The Spitfire gets 5, so he goes up to 9. And then the German fighters, we get 5. So we go up to 16. We're gonna spend all those. And the level bombers get 4, and they go up to 16. All right. And then we're at minus 25 or to minus 10, right? So we're at minus 19. They get 2 experienced pilot points. And this is the part that's going to help us. We're going to make them pay big time there. And then reinforcement squadron enters. And we did this last time, and why don't I remember how this works? We're going to draw 2. And I believe we always take the first one unless one of them Squadron 11. All right, so here's the first one. It's a Squadron 11. So it doesn't even matter what this other one is. We're taking the Squadron 11. They're both Squadron 11, by the way. So 611 is going to get one. And that's actually a good spot to get one. Okay, so they do get a reinforcement. And let's look back at our chart here. We did the event, we did the replacement points, now we do the light and heavy loss replacements. And then we do reinforcements, which I already did, and then we'll shuffle the cards. Okay, so let's do ours first. So here you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fighters, right, being replaced. And then this is a 7th being replaced. And then this one is an 8th, which just goes down to here. So I lose 8 points, and they're all fighter points. And I only gain 5, if you remember. So 16 minus 8 puts us down to 8. That's precarious, but we're still hanging in there, and we're not getting depletion, which is the key thing we need to do. Now, here's what's going to happen to them, is they repair their Spitfires first. That's the priority. They repair Group 11 first. That's their next priority. But let's look these out. So I'm just gonna, stagger them here. The Hurricanes from the Spitfires. So Hurricanes. Oh, that guy's actually at the airport, so I don't want to get him included. All right, so let's do Spitfires first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them are being repaired. And if you come over here and look at the Spitfires, they had 9, so 7 does put them down to 2. They repair all of them, even though they're precariously low. But this, there's only 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it goes to 0. So that means 2 of the 7 are going to be green pilots. Now, I don't remember the priorities here, but I think it's actually the ones that are not Group 11. I think the Group 11 ones are going to be the green ones. I need to make sure. All right. So if there's ever insufficient replacement points, assign available replacement experienced pilots in the following order. Group 11 first, then 10, then 12. Within a group, make assignments reverse order, 7, 6, and so forth. Within a sector, make assignments to squadrons of your choice. However, assign experience points so that a given sector has no more than one squadron with green. Okay, so we're going to have to get a little more complicated than this. So we know there's 7 Spitfires. That's fine. Let's count the Hurricanes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 Hurricanes, 14 minus 8 is 6. So they're down to 6. We're getting them there. They're still getting them out. So what they're saying is the group 11s are the priority. So from here to here are the priority. So this Spitfire is not priority, and same with this one out here. And then within the group 11s, if we have to choose, it starts at 7 first and then it goes down. So here's what we're going to do. There was 5 experienced pilots, and it said to try to make sure there's only 1 green pilot per area. So this gets tricky because we had a lot of planes we got to replace here. But in order to ensure there's only 1 green pilot per area, you would want to do 2 here and 1 here, okay? And 1 here, actually 2. So let's do the Spitfire. It doesn't say to prioritize the Spitfires, but I would assume they would want to. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 of them. And this one would be the lowest priority because it's the lowest number. Okay, so 211 is going to come back full strength. Here we got 511, full strength. 611 comes back with 2 full strength. Everything else is a green pilot. So 410, this guy's flipped over. 111 has 2 of them flipped over. 211 has 1 flipped over. And so forth. So if I move out here so you can see how this is playing out, there's green pilots everywhere. And that was because we're winning the game. We're definitely doing a number on them. And so we haven't made them run out of resources yet, which is what I was really hoping to do. But we're definitely getting them into the green. So, okay, what does green pilot mean? If you watch the Lion playthrough, well, that actually happened to us. All it means is that when they go into battle, if they survive the battle, they gain experience and they become a full squadron again. But they're going to go into battle already reduced because they're green. So we're going to get a slight advantage there. And then for the purposes of the pool, this is the big thing to remember. You know how we throw things in a cup and then randomly draw? Well, the green pilots don't go in a cup. They go in just a special section to the side. And let's say that we realize that, 4 of them are going back, right? Because we always fill up the cup and then remove from the cup. Well, the green pilots are the first ones removed. So that's all. So it's just changing the rules, and you'll see that, tomorrow when we do the next raid day and resolve that, okay? So the green pilots, they're not necessarily a game changer for us. I actually think the good news is, though, is that when it comes to the air-to-air battles in the hunt box, the green pilots are not going to be as effective. They're not going to be able to move us down the chart as much as they used to. So that's where we're really going to get an edge on them. And the green pilots, of course, are the first ones to go home. And so obviously it's really nice to have green pilots. And they did want it distributed, so there's at least no more than 1 in every area. This is the only area that has 2. But going after 111 is going to be wonderful now, because when they're deciding who's going to return home, these guys are going to return home first. So you can almost count them as not being involved. And if they do get involved, like I said, they're reduced. I hope it makes sense. It's not rocket science stuff here. I think that the moment that we really start to win is when these numbers, these reinforcement numbers, are at 0 and they're not able to repair everything, and then they stay in the late loss box. Because you saw that after we started to accumulate late losses on them, the raids got easier. We started to score points. So those later in the day raids really started to get successful because we took out all their planes in those early raids, and we gave them light losses, and that really did a number on them. So that's something I'm going to consider for the future. All right, we're at 50 minutes, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end the video, and because I have to shuffle, so I don't need to make you watch me shuffle. I'm going to shuffle, and then I'm going to draw my target cards, but I'm not going to look at them until I record, and I'll draw my strategy cards again. So I will see you in a few minutes, and thank you for watching. Stay awesome.